Live. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Uh, Again, it's this. This is a live where I have the pleasure to welcome the DappRadar team. So, Pedro, it's really head of blockchain and analytics at DappRadar. I'm really happy to have you today. How are you today?
Hey Flavian, thanks for having me again. Very nice and interesting insight that we are going to cover. I'm doing good. Spring is slowly
Yeah.
to come, so that's great to see. And I hope that the enthusiasm for the Web3 gaming keeps rising. So yeah, all good. Hope that you're doing well too.
Same. We're gonna attend a lot of events based on blockchain and gaming and kind of sense the excitement from what's happening in the ecosystem. And thanks to you and all the visibility that you're providing to everyone in terms of what's happening on chain. Again, for this monthly report, and we're gonna cover everything that you are about to release or you just released. I don't know exactly. Is the blockchain game report for February 2023 that we will cover just right now? Is it already on the website?
A few minutes. Give it a few minutes. We have published, but the blog takes a bit of time to refresh and
Mm.
show it. So yeah, I guess in less than 1 hour it will be up and ready.
Perfect. So we can actually see we be kind of be the first one to actually deep dive into the results, and let's get into it right now because the first thing we're gonna talk about it. Obviously, the first thing about the industry unique active wallets, and in January when we had this talk. Last month, we observed some positive results with a small rise in terms of daily unique active wallets, even if the top 10 Web3 games didn't move much from what we saw last year, but we also saw momentum in the significant increase for some of the game tokens such as Mana, Sand, and especially Gala with their big
Oh yeah.
news we covered. But it seems the industry has been experiencing some fluctuation for this month of February. I'm going to go over the chart actually that you released, but could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. So what we are seeing here is the trend chart for the industry unique active wallets that we track. So all the on-chain activity that we track in DappRadar, we classify it according to the nature of the Dapp that we're talking about. And games, as you can see, had a small slump in February, and we will review in detail why that happened. But you're totally right. We are still experiencing some sort of consolidation period. It's basically everything is stabilized since a couple of months ago, and gaming still going strong. I mean, yes, there's still a slight decrease in the number of unique active wallets connecting to games, but that is also a result of other categories like DeFi and NFTs gathering um, most of the attention. Yes, exactly right. Nice that you bring this chart up, because as you see, the dominance of games went once down again to 45%. We're
Mhm.
almost accounting for half of the industry on-chain activity, and now 45%. So this is because of two effects. One, we saw a significant decrease in one of the top games that we'll cover briefly, and nothing to worry about. It's just the way they are tracking their on-chain data, but it's also really interesting to see that DeFi and NFTs are picking up the pace again. We hear all the narrative around the layer twos. Coinbase launched their own layer two solution base last week, and there is a lot of. We chatted with Treasure that they're running on Arbitrum last month actually. So Arbitrum season is coming also. So a lot of the interest is around DeFi, and
Okay.
you see DeFi's dominance increase to 24% now, 1 quarter. And also with NFTs, with everything that happened around Blur, the royalties, and OpenSea, we also see the unique active wallets connected to NFT dApps increasing. So it's a combination of both factors. One of the leading games decreasing their on-chain activity, and DeFi and NFTs picking up the slack.
Okay. I think it's going to be a midterm situation where you're going to see DeFi more interesting into DeFi for the next week, or it will depend on the kind of activities we'll have with games as well. It's hard to predict, but I understand that in terms of DeFi, for the different chains, Arbitrum as being one of them. Do you think that is going to be something we will see for the next month, or let's say weeks, to be cautious?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't use probably the word caution, because it's very clear that games are already at a support level of 750,000 daily unique active wallets. So they're found a level, and also I think there's still a lot of opportunity in gaming and metaverse tokens. I think the next bull cycle will be impressive and will blow a lot of heads. It will surprise a lot of people, and the height and the massive reach that the gaming based tokens have. So I hate to bring Bitcoin to this conversation, but if we see the last 60 days for Bitcoin, well, at least the last 45 are basically stable around 22, 23, and that basically controls most of the industry. So now I see that it's seen as a period of consolidation, a period where projects are building and preparing to onboard the next wave of users.
Exactly, and we're going to talk about that, because not only onboarding players, we're going to have you actually mentioned a lot of good news based on that, but also onboarding game developers, and with the big news that I really love, and I will let you talk about that just after. But definitely some good projects and good news to guide the blockchain gaming ecosystem to another level. But before that, so we are experiencing some downturn, some decrease in terms of daily unique active wallets, the activities on chain, and we are kind of seeing that with the top gaming protocol. Could you talk a little bit about what kind of data you are identifying?
Yeah, so Wax still going strong as usual. Hive actually saw a steep decrease in the number of daily wallets connected to Splinterlands and their social dApps. And then Polygon also took a big hit here. And actually, it was one of the Polygon games, Benji Bananas, that I was referring to. It was one of our top 5 games during the last 2 to 3 months, and now that we are seeing a decrease in their on-chain activity, some of their engagement and farming activities are ending, so that's a reason for that. But the principal reason is, and we will touch upon that later. So maybe it's not a good time to talk about Benji Bananas in detail.
No worries, you can know, because I think it's good to see that Polygon decrease a little bit in terms of game and activity with games, and Benji Bananas obviously all I think since a long time enter the top 10 game, your top 10 games. So we're gonna see that after, but you can cover why the reason why we are seeing Benji Bananas dropping a little bit in terms of activities.
Okay, perfect. So for those of you who don't know, Benji Bananas is available on mobile. And so basically what we were doing is every time a player sign up and play the game, we were considering that as an on-chain interaction, which that was probably not the proper way to track, because they were not doing real transactions. So we changed that approach, and we are now measuring the proper game on-chain gaming activity of that game, and that's the result why it's decreasing so significantly. So they are on one side losing some user because their engagement and farming periods ended, but it's also because of the way we changed how we track the Benji Bananas to give, of course, a more accurate perspective of what's happening in that game.
Awesome. Always good to capitalize on actually your feedback to give full transparency around that. So thanks a lot, Pedro. And one of the protocols, gaming protocol that you mentioned in your report is Clayton. Could you tell us a little bit about why you are talking about Clayton specifically for this month?
Yes, Clayton was surprised to see among the risers in this month, and it's basically driven because of Extra, which is a battle type of virtual world game that it's running on Clayton. We see a massive increase in their on-chain activity, surpassing even 10K for the month. So it's quite a pleasant surprise to see those numbers in maybe a chain that it's not always recognized as a
Yeah,
network of games. So it's positive to see that type of development.
awesome. Thank you very much, Pedro. So, as you said, uh, some decrease in terms of activity on chain for, I would say, most of the games in the top 10. You talk about why for Benji Bananas, but actually, I don't know if you want to cover some of the games and why they are experiencing some downturns. But we also have a good news in terms of the one game will enter the top 10 charts. So yeah, what you could say on your side, and you're covering that on the report, but on live now, what you would like to cover, explaining these data.
Sure. So, well, for example, the case of Failing Worlds is super interesting, um, because we are seeing that the activities around this ecosystem oriented towards the DAO and the governance
Hmm.
of this project is picking up. So that is also really nice to see, and it's a trend that we are getting used to see more and more frequently. How these games are starting to build and structure their models on top of DAOs, and actually, Alien Worlds is one of those games. Uh, so there was also a bit of I would say controversy across among one of the governance votings of the council selection, um, and that might be the reason why we see a small decrease. But I mean, again, like it's not significant when you're talking about half a million
Yeah.
monthly users. Sorry, half a million monthly users. This 5% is not significant, especially when you see the other on-chain activity happen around the ecosystem. And then we see a lot of Polygon games now. 4 Polygon games in the top 10. It's very clear that Polygon is becoming a powerhouse and should be mentioned already. Yeah, unlike the names of Gala and Immutable X probably as a really gaming network. Um, Planet X and Arcade. I think this is more of a seasonality. How the previous periods engage a lot of users through onboarding, referral, and this type of marketing program activities. But yeah, the case of Benji Bananas already covered, and super surprising to see Out of Peak, a game that it's attracting also a lot of the Asian community into the game, which is also super important for the mass adoption. And Trickshot Blitz, a flow-based game, once again cracking into the top 10. So as you see, it's also a very diversified yeah, suite of games from different chains. That's Infinity still going strong despite that 10% decrease.
Hmm.
They launched Metaland. They were well live in Axie Homeland season one, also Axie Origin season three, and so on. So a lot of things happening across the leading games, but definitely positive sign to see consolidation and getting used to see all the time Alien World Splinterland and Upland there with Axie. So I mean, that's just a sign of consolidation and mature industry.
Hmm. Yeah, and actually, author. So as usual, always love your reports and kind of read your reports based on the new games that we could discover based on the popularity of the game on chain. I discovered author of Peak as well myself thanks to your report. And actually, the game, so the mobile game, which is a MMORPG on mobile, it's
Yes.
really good. Like, it's beautiful. The gameplay is fun as well, and the experience of playing the game is beyond what you have to understand with blockchain. So actually, it's a very good game, and I understand really perfectly well why it is on the chart. So very very interesting games to see what will happen in the near futures. I think in terms of what we could say about the game in terms of blockchain, it's the duality of the token. So you have the peak token, which is a utility type token that you can buy using the shells in the game, which is the game's main currency, and you have the host token, which is the
Yeah.
governance token. So it's pretty interesting, and we will follow that for sure for the next week.
Just to close on that topic, you touched a very, very interesting point, which is Oath of Peak is really fun to play.
Mm,
And we still see a lot of concentration of GameFi projects, blockchain games, right? Truly on-chain games, Alien Worlds, Planet X, Upland, Axie Infinity, Trickshot Blitz. These are on-chain games that tends to have more of a farming and GameFi approach rather than being a Web3 game, a traditional game that starts to implement blockchain technologies. That could be the case of Oath of Peak, right? More of a traditional game implementing NFTs and other Web3 technologies around also their community, which is an important topic for this industry.
yeah.
And hopefully we'll start to see more of those games cracking the top 10.
Mm. I don't know if it happens to you, but being in the field, being in the sector, obviously I'm a gamer, but when I try and test a game with blockchain, when I play Oath of Peak, I was like, so okay, when do you ask me my wallet? I just want you to ask my wallet, but actually you don't have to. It's obviously the point. So it was funny actually to experience that, and yeah, will be very cool to see what will happen for the next weeks because it's a fun game for sure. And the next thing I wanted to talk with you actually it's in terms of investments. I This is the chart that you shared in August 2023 to 2022
Mm,
uh, in terms of where are blockchain game investment going, and you see the infrastructure and for 37, so largely the main driver of investment in the space, and you have game with 33. But actually, what we see now for your report in February 2023, 65% point two for game metaverse projects and 26.1 in terms of infrastructure. Are we witnessing a shift in terms of priorities in investing in blockchain gaming?
oh, super difficult question to answer. To be honest, I'm not sure. I see still a very strong trend and interest in building infrastructure. I think this was just a matter of coincidence that gaming studios raised a lot of money this month, but if we review the logical process to develop a game, you need first to invest in your infrastructure, right? And
Mm,
then from there, you start focusing on other aspects like the game development itself. And then how am I going to distribute my game? How am I going to market the game? On who am I going to target? What will be my audience? And trying to answer those type of questions, but you cannot really answer those if you don't know what are going to be the advantages that you offer by buildings in a certain way. So
mm,
I think maybe actually it's the story that can be told is 6 months ago we see two-thirds of the money going into the infrastructure, and now that we have a more cemented infrastructure layer, now the projects are starting to build on top of those infrastructures, right? That could
mm,
make some sense. But no, I still think that infrastructure projects will command a good amount of the capital going forward. Of course, gaming and metaverse studios will be there as well, but I don't know, maybe not at the levels that we saw last August, as you were saying.
mm.
But I see infrastructure growing at least to one third next month, maybe. We should probably bet something.
Awesome. Yeah, we can. Let's bet. Okay, makes sense. Thanks a lot, Pedro. So, based on these same subjects, one standout investment from Fab that you actually talk about is from Kratos Studio, which raised
Yes.
billions to acquire IndieGG. And they're building a Web3 gaming decentralized autonomous organization under the IndieGG brand. And I'd love to have your opinion and your analysis on this because why is this happening? We talked about Treasure DAO last month, and please for everyone check our last
Yes.
video with Pedro, Sarah, and actually Karel Viong, the co-founder of Treasure DAO. We explain what they're doing and the vision of Treasure DAO and every activities they have. But why a DAO, which is a decentralized organization governed by its member and operates using smart contract on the blockchain, could be considered as a big actor, someone at the forefront of Web3 gaming, in your opinion? Because it's kind of the thing we are seeing right now.
Yes, and we were just talking about the Alien Worlds as one of the games that
Mhm.
are running on top of a DAO. Treasure DAO, of course, being the other. Then we see Old DAO, and then you start to see not games, but also sort of gamified structures like the Nouns DAO and so on. So now I think this is just a model that we will start to see more and more frequently. How games start to build on top of the DAO, because in the end it makes sense, especially if you're a gaming studios like Kratos, and because it's not one game that you want to govern, but if you're a studio, you will be thinking in 4 or 5 games at least, and so it would make sense to one build a strong community around, to two create loyal customers around your different products, and then three engage your community, which is super important of Web3. Again, one of the ethos of Web3 um, is how we are able to involve your community and grow organically from there. So it will make a lot of sense how games start to become DAOs to increase the participation of their own ecosystem, and then also why not start thinking in more DAO terms, like giving full transparency of how these studios will be using partial or part of the funds that they are raising from, let's say, NFT sales or even their own revenues. When you uh, put those numbers inside a DAO treasury, you need to be very transparent. So it will make sense for some of these projects to start thinking in DAO terms and keep engaging users through this model.
Very interesting. We will follow that closely for sure. And thanks a lot for this, Pedro. I think one massive thing that you are mentioning in the report, which is for me one of the biggest news for this year in terms of healthy situation for the market, is what the announcement of Unity. And I want to talk about
Yes.
it, but I will let you talk about it because obviously it's a massive news and it's good that you reported it.
Yes, sorry. So for me, this is the most important news and trend of the month. To be honest, yes, the on-chain data and some games like Oath of Peak and Iskra Clayton and Plan and Nine Chronicles are doing really well. But the big news, and sorry about this, I need to clean my throat.
Yeah, I think,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
please.
so it's this news about Unity, because if we go back a couple of months, you guys in the BGA did a terrific job with your survey, and one of the challenges of that survey was how to make games more accessible and easier to use, not so complex, as you were saying, like at what time is South of Peaks going to ask me for my wallet? Did I already sign a fishy contract or yeah, right? So Unity is a technology that is already used by some of the leading games that probably you have already played. And they launched and announced an SDK integration with MetaMask that will affect up to 12 more Web3 names, including Algorand, Aptos, Immutable X, Flow, Solana, and so on. So it's just a good step towards mass adoption and making this industry more accessible and friendlier, right? And also from the game developer side, they will allow it, this news will allow them to build more secure projects and easier. So I won't say in one click, of course, but this SDKs will allow gaming studios to integrate Web3 features easily, and that will result in better user experience for the end user.
Exactly. I think it's a massive news just based on that. The ability to, from a big player in the traditional gaming industry, to say that they are actually mentioning solution for game developers when integrating Web3. And you can rely on Unity based on the catalog and the library that they launch. And it's wonderful to see that. And on our side, we do talk a lot about SDKs and have some members who are developing some SDKs on their sides. And we released an article about that, actually talking about what are some of the issues that SDK solve in blockchain gaming. And obviously, it's a simplified development process, provides pre-built models and library that can be used quickly and easily by game developers, but with secure, reliable infrastructure, with blockchain networks, and above all, I would say user-friendly interfaces, which is obviously the must when you want to make it easy for game developers to build the game, but with Web3 functionalities as well. So it's a massive good news that Unity shared. And I'm sure we will have more in the futures from the company, and I hope so, because I think it's bringing a lot of healthy vectors, healthy points in the industry to move forward. So yeah, it's a pretty good idea. I think it's good news based on that. So again, what we've seen in the report was very encouraging. Obviously, what we're seeing is the blockchain gaming industry facing some challenges with the decline in terms of blockchain gaming activity from the previous month. But I understand that it can be overshadowed by the potential and excitement surrounding the industry in terms of infrastructure, in terms of advancements, and still games who are breaking the top 10 blockchain gaming. So yeah, I feel like the coming month will be exciting as well. What do you think, Pedro?
No, definitely. It's, as you say, it's maybe the numbers are not sexy at this point, but you need to look at the bigger picture. And now definitely we're undergoing super exciting developments that will be key to ensure that games are good adopted. And it's not only the SDKs. For example, another yeah, sort of a news that was announced at the end of January, but we are covering also in this report is the gaming passports,
Immutable.
an instant wallet onboarding solutions that was announced by Immutable X,
Yeah.
Polygon also working on the Polygon ID. So once again, more solutions building toward making Web3 games easier to mess around with, easier for people that it's not crypto native to go and play. And with the Immutable Passport, basically they create a layer under the hood. You won't even be aware that maybe a wallet is being created. And the Mutable Passport is basically this non-custodial, but it will allow also to authenticate yourself and basically create a profile for a mutable that you could use in all of their games, right? So it's also a secure approach to games, which is also an important topic, right? How can users navigate safely in this risky environment? So all of these solutions building towards one end, in it is improving the user experience.
Yeah, for sure. It's exciting to see that Immutable X is will be released the wallet. They are releasing the wallet for some of the games like Garden Chain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. First is that well the first two immutable games, Gods on Chain and Gods on Guilds of Guardians. Sorry.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Pedro, for that. Thanks a lot for these 30 minutes going through the report. Maybe, or it will be, let's say, maybe in 20 minutes, release on the DappRadar website. So you might want to check out because we try to cover the main takeaways, but you have far more information on the report. So I invite everyone to go over the website in DappRadar and see what happened in February 2023. And until then, Pedro, always a good, always fun to go through the results and the data with you.
Thank you, Flavien, and same. Always exciting to talk about this topic, and we'll talk next month to review the full quarter Q1.
Yes.
Should be a fun one.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. We're waiting for that for sure. So thanks a lot, Pedro, for that. Looking forward to the Q1, and wish you a very good day.
Thank you, Flavien. Same to you, and until the next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.